Good evening and thank you for joining us. The Hong Kong Observatory will issue the standby signal number 1 at 8:40 p.m. This comes as tropical cyclone Noul is forecast to enter within 800 kilometers of the territory this evening. Weather authorities may upgrade the tropical cyclone signal on Saturday afternoon depending on the intensity and direction of Noul. Memo Singhai reports.
Another scorching hot day in Hong Kong. Umbrellas become the essential for people to shield themselves against the sunlight. This man stops by the vending machines to grab a drink. Thanks to the outer subsiding air of tropical cyclone Noul, the observatory says temperatures over many places rose to 34 degrees Celsius or above on Friday afternoon. According to the present forecast, Noul will move west-northwest at about 26 kilometers an hour, crossing the Luzon Strait. It is expecting to intensify and edge closer to the coast of eastern Guangdong and has a chance of making a landfall over the vicinity of Huizhou to Tianyang early on Sunday. The observatory says it may issue the strong wind signal number 3 on Saturday afternoon, depending on the change in intensity of Noul, the distance of its strong winds from Hong Kong, and the local wind conditions. Under the effects of Noul, weather authorities say Hong Kong will be hit by heavy squally showers and thunderstorms later on Saturday to Sunday. The observatory is now predicting force 8 winds on high grounds in the early parts of Sunday. Memos 9, TVB News.
The Japanese yen remains weak, with the exchange rate falling below 4.8 Hong Kong dollars per 100 yen, marking the lowest level in about 40 years. Some local residents are taking advantage of the drop to buy yen cash. At a money exchange shop in Shamshui Po, the shop owner said customer traffic is noticeably higher than usual, and many have pre-ordered yen. A Hong Kong writer who regularly travels to Japan says that many Hong Kong e-payment platforms also work in Japan and can be more cost-effective compared with cash. Discounts or coupons may be available when making purchases at drugstores and restaurants. Also, 100 yen costs 4.8 Hong Kong dollars with no service fee on e-payment platforms, while physical shops can charge 4.82 or 4.85 Hong Kong dollars for the same amount. Japanese Finance Minister Satsuki Katayama said the government would take decisive action if necessary to counter further yen weakness. MTR's Tuen Mun South station for the Tuen Mun line is slated to open in 2030. The extension to reach the new terminus may only be 2.4 kilometers long, but the construction project needed plenty of planning. Memo Sangai reports.
The future Tuen Mun South Station will be located on Wuging Road, close to the Tuen Mun Ferry Pier. Commenced in 2023, the project will extend the Tuen Mun line by approximately 2.4 kilometers from Tuen Mun Station through a viaduct. An intermediate station, A16, will also be built between Tuen Mun and Tuen Mun South stations. MTR says the Tuen Mun South community has been developed for more than 40 years, posing challenges for construction.
We have limited space to work on ground, and this is why we've designed a viaduct. We have very congested underground utilities comprising probably more than 10 private and public companies. The third challenge is this is a major road at Tuen Mun South, so we need to carry out a series of traffic diversions.
To create space for a foundation, Yan says MTR spent 2 years relocating underground conduits that constituted a length of 3.6 kilometers. The railway company also points out that Tuen Mun South Station will be designed compactly. The platform and lobby will be on one level. MTR says the construction process of Tuen Mun South Station has been going smoothly, stressing that it can be in service as expected by 2030. Memos 9, TVB News.
U.S. President Donald Trump's administration imposes new tariffs of 10% and 12.5% on goods from 60 trading partners, including Europe and China. This over allegations of lax enforcement of forced labor bans, just as a temporary 10% global tariff expired. Danny Rao tells us more.
The move is the White House's latest effort to restore US President Donald Trump's vision of a near-global tariff. This after the US Supreme Court in February struck down his reciprocal duties of 10 to 15% imposed under a national emergencies law to try to shrink the US trade deficit. The new tariffs cover 99.4% of US imports, but include numerous product exemptions, such as oil and gas, fertilizer, and certain food items. The US imposes a 10% duty on goods of Argentina, Bangladesh, Britain, Cambodia, Canada, Ecuador, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, India, Indonesia, Jordan, Malaysia, Mexico, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, and Trinidad and Tobago. The European Union, Japan, South Korea, and Switzerland were assigned rates that, combined with pre-existing most favored nation tariff rates, totaled 10 or 12.5%. The other 38 countries were assigned a 12.5% rate. US Trade Representative Jameson Greer says Washington has had a forced labor import ban for nearly a century and rigorously enforces it. It's well past time for its trading partners to do the same. Greer says the action will begin to correct what is both a human rights abuse and distortive trade practice to improve the welfare of workers everywhere. The tariff prompts largely negative responses globally. Australia and Brazil describe the new tariffs as unjustified.
Look, can I say how disappointed we are in the decision of the United States Trade Representative to increase tariffs on some Australian products going into the United States. We do not believe it was justified. We believe that amongst all of the countries in the world, Australia does take the issue of slavery, modern slavery, seriously, and will continue to do that. But we think, and we believe, the Albanese government believes that this imposition of higher tariffs on Australia is completely unjustified, and we will continue to lobby the United States Trade Representative to remove all tariffs on Australian goods.
Japan's Chief Cabinet Secretary Minoru Kihara says it is regrettable this measure to impose tariffs on the grounds of non-existent enforced bans on goods produced by forced labour, despite the fact that Japan's industry and trade are in accordance with international rules. The European Commission says Brussels notes positively the fact this outcome is in line with the US tariff commitments agreed under the EU-US joint statement, adding it provided positive momentum to continue the work on exploring further tariff exemptions and deepening cooperation. Britain says the move would have no negative effects. Canada, hit on Monday with new Trump tariffs on $20 billion worth of goods, issues a muted response. Noul, TV News.
U.S. President Donald Trump declares President Xi Jinping's state visit to the United States is scheduled for September 24th, and hence artificial intelligence will feature prominently in their upcoming high-stakes talks. Danny Zhou has the story.
Trump notes he has extended invitation to President Xi and his wife Peng Liyuan for a reciprocal visit to the White House on September the 24th to build on momentum established during his own journey to Beijing earlier in May. On Thursday, the Republican president confirms at an event in Washington that the date for the autumn summit is unchanged.
President Xi is coming over on September 24th, and we talked about it when I was over in Beijing, and we'll be talking about it again. But he was very impressed with the job we've done.
Citing people familiar with the matter, Reuters reported that preparations are on track to hold AI talks prior to the visit, as both governments managed to regulate risks brought by the rapid developments of AI models. Despite the constructive tone, the diplomatic push unfolds against the backdrop of regional security concerns. Foreign Minister Wang Yi on Wednesday met with U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio on ASEAN's sidelines in Manila, and expressed solemn position in response to Washington's negative remarks and deeds in recent days, urging it to respect Beijing's core interests. Rubio said the pair discussed the need to identify areas of cooperation to lay the groundwork for a very positive visit in September. Further preparatory talks were scheduled in Washington, where Vice Foreign Minister Ma Zhaoxu held consultations with U.S. Deputy Secretary of State Christopher Landau to finalize the itinerary for Xi's arrival. The Foreign Ministry in Beijing also announces Ma's meetings with Senior Director for Asia at the White House's National Security Council, Ivan Kanapathy, U.S. Undersecretary of War of Policy Elbridge Colby, as well as members of both the U.S. Senate and House of Representatives, on building constructive bilateral relationship of strategic stability. Danny Zhou, TVB News.
Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi attended the meeting of the Council of the Ministers of Foreign Affairs of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, or SCO, member states in Kyrgyzstan. The meeting runs from Thursday to Saturday. The SCO, founded in 2001, has 10 member states so far. Its total population exceeds 3.4 billion, and it accounts for roughly 1/4 of global GDP. Wang also met with Belarusian Foreign Minister Maxim Reznikov, signing a bilateral consultation plan for 2026 to 27 together. 2027 marks the 35th anniversary of the establishment of the diplomatic ties between China and Belarus. Wang said China and Belarus are reliable partners, and China highly appreciates the fact that Belarus has stood firmly with China on major issues regarding China's fundamental interests. Meanwhile, Wang held a separate meeting with Uzbek Foreign Minister Bakhtiyor Saidov. Wang said China is ready to fully tap and unleash cooperation potential with Uzbekistan, advance the two countries' railway project with high quality, and build more landmark projects in the field of new industrialization. The U.S. military announced the 13th night of strikes against Iran on Thursday, as clashes escalate over shipping routes. This as Iran and Iraq signed several agreements related to foreign affairs, transportation, finance and energy on the first day of a 2-day visit of the Iraqi Prime Minister to Tehran. Tracy Furness has more.
The 13th night of U.S. military strikes against Iran came after Yemen's Iran-backed Houthi rebels said they attacked 2 Saudi oil tankers in the Red Sea, potentially widening the Iran war as international oil topped $100 a barrel. Back in Washington, a day after attending the transfer back home of 4 U.S. service members killed in the Middle East, U.S. President Donald Trump said their military was doing extremely well in Iran.
We're doing very well against the Islamic Republic of Iran. We're doing extremely well. They would like to do something, but I say they're not ready yet. They need more of the same. They're not ready yet. They got some evil intentions. We cannot let them have a nuclear weapon. They'll never have a nuclear weapon.
This as Iran and Iraq held a signing ceremony in Tehran Thursday. The ceremony of the signing of the agreements was headed by Iraqi Prime Minister Ali al-Zaidi and Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian. The agreements between the two countries related to foreign affairs, transportation, finance and energy. Al-Zaidi was in Tehran for a 2-day state visit, with his delegation holding several meetings. This visit comes after he met with U.S. President Donald Trump in the U.S. earlier this month. Meanwhile, House Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries said the Republicans have failed American people and are on the verge of losing control of the House of Representatives as the war in Iran continues.
Donald Trump and Republicans have failed the American people, which is why they clearly are on the run and are on the verge of losing control of the House of Representatives. In many instances, Republicans have already lost control of the floor of the House of Representatives, as Democrats just demonstrated once again by successfully passing a War Powers Resolution.
The War Powers Resolution is a federal law designed to check the president's power to wage military conflict abroad without approval from Congress. Tracy Furness, TVB News.
Indian activist Sonam Wangchuk ended a 26-day hunger strike on Friday that helped galvanize a youth movement that has become one of India's largest protests in recent years. But demonstrators have vowed to continue until the education minister resigns after alleged leaks in some of the country's competitive entrance exams. Here's Tracy Furness again.
Sonam Wangchuk breaking his 26-day fast, surrounded by his wife Geetanjali Angmo, Indian Health Minister J.P. Nadda, and Minister of Science and Technology Jitendra Singh.
Sensitivity towards the children who have been victims, towards the youth who were peacefully protesting on those hills, and that both the ruling party and MPs from the opposition have assured me that their discussions will happen on the floor of the parliament regarding reforms in the examination system.
Wangchuk's fast became a rallying point for India's cockroach protests, which began more than a month ago, demanding education reforms after alleged leaks in some of the country's more competitive entrance exams.
It was about time that he broke his fast, and we are all very happy that he did. However, we will not let his hunger strike go to waste. We will get this to the end. We will finish what we started, and that includes accountability of Dharmendra Pradhan.
Organisers of the demonstrations say they will continue until the Education Minister resigns. They have called for demonstrations across India Friday in solidarity with students who were beaten by police during a march to Parliament on Monday that drew thousands.
Friends,
Prime Minister Narendra Modi posted on social media, "Friends, I know that paper leaks are not an ordinary issue. For hundreds of thousands of students and their guardians, this is extremely painful." Modi also said his government would introduce legislation in Parliament to crack down on exam paper leaks. The announcements did not calm the movement, as protesters said they failed to address their demands for government accountability, exam reforms and compensation for the families of students who died by suicide after exam paper leaks. The movement has tapped into broader public anger over unemployment, government accountability and economic opportunity. Tracy Furness, TVB News.
Television Broadcast Limited has been renamed TVB Limited in a move that reflects its transformation into a more diversified, cross-media entertainment powerhouse. TVB's executive chairman Thomas Hui says the broadcaster will continue delivering quality content. At the ceremony marking the rebranding with a corporate name change to TVB Limited, Executive Chairman of TVB Thomas Hui says the new identity signals the company's new era beyond broadcasting. Hui says it marks the broadcaster's evolution going beyond conventional television into a content-driven media group spanning digital platforms, social media, licensing, intellectual property and consumer products. TVB first went on air on November 19, 1967, becoming Hong Kong's first free-to-air station. For nearly 6 decades, it has been delivering news, drama and entertainment to Hong Kong audiences.
無線集團，我哋唔係離開電視。
Hui says the journey from television broadcast to TVB does not mean they are leaving television behind, but it signals a drive to reach further and dream bigger, building on nearly 6 decades of creative excellence. What remains unchanged is the commitment to quality content creation and a dedication to serving Hong Kong. Hui adds, rapidly changing media consumption habits have reshaped the media industry, while the development of artificial intelligence technology presents new opportunities. The group will embrace innovation while expanding its footprint into the Greater Bay Area. The advanced decision on life-sustaining treatment will take effect next Friday. The Fire Services Department and 2 medical auxiliary units say they will check whether the patient's do not attempt cardiopulmonary resuscitation document is valid or applicable before executing the order. Starting next Friday, terminal patients can opt out of the cardiopulmonary resuscitation or CPR when cardiac arrest occurs through advanced medical directives. The DNA CPR order should be endorsed by 2 registered doctors. The Fire Services Department, Auxiliary Medical Service, and St. John Ambulance Brigade gave more clarity on the principles and protocols for executing orders. Patients must have the original form or a certified copy signed by the relevant doctors or lawyer. The order's validity period has not expired. The patient's cardiopulmonary arrest at the time was not caused by unnatural factors such as suicide, homicide, or accident. Still, with a DNA CPR order, it does not automatically mean foregoing other life-sustaining treatment. Medics will still be there to provide appropriate care, and the patient will be sent to the nearest hospital. In case of any uncertainty towards the validity of the DNA CPR document, medics will follow the principle of saving lives first.
Normally, it won't take long to assess, and we don't have a definite time limit to ensure must be checked. But most importantly, if the caller can show the order when we arrive at scene, that would definitely help us to take appropriate action immediately.
Authorities also remind patients who have been issued the do not attempt cardiopulmonary resuscitation form to carry the document with them at all times. Otherwise, emergency responders might not be able to carry out the patient's end-of-life wishes. The Fire Services Department and the 2 auxiliary medical units have also trained staff and members to ensure their familiarity with the latest protocols. And here's a reminder before we go that due to the live coverage of Kerry Fencing World Championships 2026, tomorrow night's main news will start at 9:25 p.m. Join us then.